enjoy the moment.
No.
No?
No.
What?
Hello, and thanks for joining us. The film that was crowned the best at this year's Cannes Film Festival is being released in French cinemas this week. Ruben Östlund's class comedy, The Triangle of Sadness, won the Palme d'Or in May. I sat down with the director of Force Majeure and The Square in Cannes, where the film premiered. We chatted before he won the festival's top prize. Ruben Östlund, hello.
Hello.
This is your first time back in Cannes, in competition since you won the first prize here with The Square back in 2017. It was also nominated for an Oscar. And The Square focused on the art world. Triangle of Sadness starts off as a satire on the fashion world. Then it opens up to talk more widely about the absurdities and the grotesqueness of the affluent. What is the Triangle of Sadness?
Well, the title actually comes from a term in plastic surgery. That is like that you have a wrinkle in between your eyebrows here. And in Sweden, it's called trouble wrinkle. So you have had a lot of trouble in your life, and that's why you get this wrinkle. But don't worry, you can fix it with Botox in 15 minutes. And I thought it was like a funny contradiction, and like to fix your surface and then feel better inside. And maybe it's true, I don't know, but it was like it's sort of kind of dark humor in it that I liked.
Do you know what people regret on their deathbed?
Can you turn the phone?
No. No. But they were working too much. 7 out of 10 people are regretting that they were throwing away their lives on stupid and pointless jobs.
Can I get you anything to drink?
Not for
Your wife is a fashion photographer.
Yes.
And is it true that the happier the model in an ad campaign, the cheaper the brand,
Yes.
and the more they scowl, the more high-end it is?
You can actually go and have a look in one of these fancier perfume stores or fancier clothing stores that the ads then it becomes a little bit more chilly, the look on the model, and they often look down, and they are like not smiling.
Open your mouth so you look a little bit more available. Okay, not that much, a little bit less.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thanks. Next, please.
But what fashion industry basically is doing is that with our clothes, we are positioning ourselves in a hierarchy. So then we have to pay a lot of money to be on top and be able to look down on other people. And if we pay a little less money, like for H&M or Zara or these brands, then we can join the big smiling community. So we constantly are trying to dress in the way that the social group that we are connected to dress. And then it's very efficient to change fashion every fall and every spring, because then we have to consume new clothes.
And fashion is a rare industry where men earn less than women. There's this great scene at the beginning of the film where they're arguing over the bill, and she expects him to pay even though she earns more than him.
Yeah, I actually think it's hard to get happy in a relationship if you not are equal. And I think it's scary when people become products in relationship. That's trophy-wise concept, for an example, that you buy someone to be next to your side to like increase your value. But at the same time, I also think that economy and love is very close connected. I think we want to think that love is not connected to economy, but you can just think of how rare it is that you marry someone or get together with someone from a completely different social group. It's very often that you bond with someone that is in the same social group as you. And if you don't do that, then women often are bonding with richer men, because we live in a society where men have the money and can help women to climb in class society with their looks. So I am interested in looking at beauty as a currency.
Your favourite themes seem to be how we act in a group, bravado, and fear of social disgrace. You also love awkwardness,
Yes.
don't you? Tell us about that.
Well, maybe it's connected also with the social situations, our fear of being excluded of the group, and because that's where we really feel awkwardness, I think, when we don't live up to the expectation of who we should be and when we are losing face. I think that I'm interested in it because I'm so scared of it. I'm so scared of losing face. I'm so scared of starting to behave in a way that I don't want to behave. And even though if am less troubled by shame today than I was 20 years ago, I think that shame is a big part of being a human being. It's really one of the forces that is pushing us in a certain kind of direction when it comes to how we socialize with each other.
Do you think ultimately humans are every man for himself?
No, absolutely not. I think that humans are great in collaborating.
Would you eat the food in secret or would you share it with the group on the desert island?
I think that I would, dependent on what my position is in the group. If I'm very far down, I don't believe that they will collaborate with me. It maybe would trigger egoistic behavior. But if I would feel that the resources in the group were spread out equally, then I would probably also be generous.
Okay. Ruben Östlund, thank you. And since that interview was recorded, the breakout actress in the film Charlie Dean has died from an unexpected sudden illness at just 32. And now to a beloved magical puppet who is undergoing a major revival. Both Disney and Netflix are releasing Pinocchio films this autumn after Amazon Prime began streaming Matteo Garrone's interpretation earlier this year. The 3 different Pinocchios will compete to entrance viewers, though, of course, not one of them can be trusted to tell the truth. Catherine Kadir-Clifford has more.
Once upon a time, a plank of wood was transformed into a real boy. Inspired from a tale by the Italian writer Carlo Collodi, Disney's original 1940 animation Pinocchio is a classic. 82 years later, the untruthful puppet is the trick up the sleeves of some of the biggest video streaming platforms. Disney's live-action version stars Tom Hanks as Geppetto, Pinocchio's father.
You will always be my real boy.
At the premiere, he said the tale's themes were highly relevant today.
Listening to your conscience, making the right choice. And this movie, the original came out in 1941. We know what that year was like. This movie is coming out in 2022. We know what's going on here. And some of those questions of the human condition still are worth being asked.
It follows much the same plot as the original, while introducing new songs and adding diversity to its cast.
I was coming in there, and now there's loads of, black fairies standing there and brown fairies standing in there, and it's just wonderful. And I think that this story sort of keeps giving.
Netflix is releasing its own take, a reinterpretation using computer animation to manipulate wooden figures, with director Guillermo del Toro pulling the strings. Starring the voices of Ewan McGregor and Kate Blanchett.
I want to tell you a story. It's a story you may think you know, but you don't.
Pinocchio, try, say something.
Babbo. Finally, Amazon bought the French rights to this Matteo Garrone film 2 years ago, which went straight to streaming this year.
He's a puppet like us! Who are you?
Pinocchio. A darker and quirkier take on the classic tale.
Now, one of France's street art pioneers, Jeff Aerosol, is celebrating 40 years of his work in a new exhibition in Paris. Part of the first wave of street art in the 1980s, the artist's work are an integral part of the Parisian urban landscape. Jeff Aerosol painted his first stencil in the French city of Tours in 1982. He's since been displayed in streets and galleries worldwide, influencing many younger artists.
The stencil has this ability to make the paintings quite realistic. They're almost alive, and I'm there sometimes in the studio surrounded by these people. I admit that their presence can be almost troubling or disturbing sometimes. To share my studio sometimes with Keith Richards, Bob Dylan, Lou Reed or Edgar Allan Poe, but at the same time as a fan, I'm there, very small. It's almost as if I'm saying, forgive me.
And under the curation of the Math Goth Gallery, hundreds of Jeff Aerosol's artworks are being shown in a raw space of 600 square metres opposite the François Mitterrand Library in Paris. It's free and it runs until November. Next, when he's not preserving dead animals in formaldehyde or encrusting skulls with diamonds, Damien Hirst is known for his spots. Now, the British artist has announced he will burn thousands of his spotty paintings at his London gallery as part of his year-long NFT project entitled The Currency. It's Hirst's first project involving non-fungible tokens, a new technology growing in popularity as a way of owning art. And just before we go, US rapper Coolio, known for the iconic hit Gangsta's Paradise, has died at the age of 59. His real name was Artis Leon Ivy Jr. He started making music in the 1980s. Cementing his place in hip-hop history, 1995's Gangsta's Paradise won a Grammy and was part of the soundtrack for the movie Dangerous Minds, starring Michelle Pfeiffer. We'll leave you with the haunting track that continues to be widely listened to and has just passed 1 billion streams on Spotify. Remember our website? We're also on Twitter, Facebook and Instagram. There's more news coming up on France 24 after this.
I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Got my tin in my hand and a gleam in my eye. I'm a loped out gangster, set tripping banker. And my homies is down, so don't arouse my anger. Fool, death ain't nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm living life, do or die. What can I say? I'm 23 now, but will I live to see 24? The way things is going, I don't know. Tell me, why are we so blind to see that the ones we hurt are you?